As you take a moment to begin listening to this file, I wonder if you could imagine what it feels like when you receive a compliment. And while you imagine that, perhaps you can recall how it feels to be told something kind. I don't know if you're imagining a pleasant physical sensation, or perhaps just a sense of joy as a mental response to that experience. But whatever it is you're recalling, I'd like you to take note of that feeling now and hold on to it for a bit. Of course, you may have already found that you've begun to relax a bit. The act of listening to my voice in the context of a file like this can do that. But however much you've begun to focus already, I'd like you to let that incidental response become more intentional now. As you listen to the sound of my voice and hear my words in these moments, you can find that your mind and body are shifting into a state of focus and of calm. With each breath you take and every word I say, you can begin to notice how easy it is to relax. Because for the next few moments, you're in a place where the more focused you are, the better you feel. The more you concentrate on my words, the more your mind lets go of the thoughts that stand between you and feeling as good as you could possibly feel right now. That's right. Take a moment now to notice one of the signs you've begun to let go more fully into trance. Perhaps it's the way your breathing has shifted subtly into an easy, comfortable pace, or the way your limbs feel just the slightest bit heavier. Maybe it's the way your thoughts have begun to slow down, or just how much you're focused on my words as other sounds fade into the distance. Those signs that you're going into trance now are like guideposts for your mind. Each time you notice one of them, it serves to guide you deeper into trance. Because there's really nothing more hypnotic than the idea that you're allowing yourself to slip just a bit deeper into trance. And even the smallest sign can be enough to draw your mind even further down. As you continue following my words and those guideposts, that feeling of trance seems to build on itself. The more you sink, the better you feel. And the better you feel, the more you sink even deeper into hypnosis. That's one of the best qualities about hypnosis. It's as though your brain is specially wired to respond to it. The deeper you go, the deeper you want to go, because it just feels so good. And when you allow that to happen, now your brain responds with that lovely rush of good feelings. One drop down leads to more good feelings. And sooner or later, you realize that you've allowed yourself to sink into a lovely, deep state of trance. And as I count back from 10 now, you'll find that realization becoming more and more clear. As with each number, you become more and more aware of the ways in which your body and mind are drifting down ever so perfectly into trance. At 10, just allowing yourself to slip and sink. At 9, drifting and falling. At 8, those indicators and guideposts of trance becoming clearer by the moment. 7, and that realization becoming clearer and clearer. At 6, as tension fades, distraction fades. 5, replaced with focus and letting go. 4, drifting and floating, heavy and light at the same time. 3, listening to every word. 2, and 1, and 0, resting into that perfect, peaceful state of trance. That's right. Letting yourself savor that realization that you've allowed yourself to really let go. Of course, the beauty of hypnosis is that even when you're here, you can still keep dropping, right? A pleasant, mild trance can so quickly slide down into an even more relaxed and focused state. And from that state, it can slide down so quickly into that lovely, deep, dreamy place where there's nothing that matters but how good it feels to simply be. And when you're in this place, you leave the rest of the world behind, even if just for a moment. When you're here, hearing my voice, other sounds fade away or only serve to remind you how much deeper you can drift. The thoughts that bounce around your mind seem to slow down and fade away, perhaps appearing only long enough for you to see just how distant they've become. And it's when that happens that you realize that you're here, in this place, with my words and your breathing and that simple knowledge that while you're here, you're free of expectations and needs, free of distractions and worries. All you need to be is you. And while you're in this place, I wonder if you could recall that feeling that we first spoke about earlier. That feeling of receiving a kind compliment or word of encouragement. You can recall the way you felt physically when you think of that. Perhaps it's a warmth or a glow, maybe a boost of confidence. That feeling that you've been seen and heard and acknowledged. Some people find that they can't help but smile when they imagine receiving that kind of feedback. The more you think about that feeling, the more real it can become now. And as you feel that pleasant wave wash over you, you may also be reminded of how good it feels to provide that feeling to someone else. And you can imagine that feeling too, can't you? The way it feels when you let someone know that you enjoy or appreciate what they do, or when you give them feedback that helps them know what their work meant to you. Some people find that feeling to be even more pleasant, even more rewarding than the act of receiving a compliment. And as you imagine that feeling now, you may even find yourself thinking about how good it could feel to experience it soon. In fact, I bet there's a part of your mind that begins to realize just how easy it could be to have that feeling of reward for yourself. Which brings us to the point of this recording. Because as you've imagined how good it feels to receive a compliment or feedback about something that you've put effort into, and you've also imagined how good it feels to share that with someone else, you realize that you can allow that experience to happen now. So you'll find that once you awaken from this lovely, deep state of trance, you'll find yourself almost instinctively wanting to share your thoughts with me about this experience or any of my files. That knowledge of how good it could feel to do so is just so appealing. There are, of course, many ways to give me feedback. Perhaps you'll find it easiest to send me a message directly on the platform where you found the file, or maybe just to leave a comment where it's posted. Either way, you'll find yourself looking forward to that pleasant, lovely feeling, knowing that you've done something to make my day better. And that's the thing. When you choose to send me that feedback, it will feel good. You'll get that exact wave of pleasant feelings you've been imagining, but perhaps just a bit more potent. And because in this state of trance, you know that feeling good just makes sense, it will be quite easy for you to let this suggestion just sink right into that part of your mind where it will happen easily and effortlessly. Taking a moment now just to think about how good it will feel. Letting that suggestion take its place right in the deepest part of your unconscious mind now. Good. That's right. And now in a moment, I'll bring you back up out of trance, your mind ready to act on this suggestion and feel that wonderful feeling. And as I count to 5, finding it easy to return to a more awake, more aware state. And at 1, you're making your way back up now, feeling good as you do. At 2, your body and mind returning to a regular state of awareness. At 3, just letting yourself stretch and feel wonderful as you emerge. At 4, you're almost all the way back. And at 5, you're wide awake, feeling wonderful.